Hello, I'm the Media Whiz, because where I form wasn't enough. And welcome to a new segment I like to call EMB works in two different ways. We'll take two different but very similar examples of said medium and pit them against each other, or we'll take two different mediums and see which of the two mediums is the better. And for our first battle, let's look at the craptastic Twilight books versus the Twilight movies. So this—
Hold it right there!
Hi, Critical Kid.
You're comparing the Twilight books to the movies. That's ripping off books versus films. Book versus films! That's my shtick.
But my show reviews multiple art forms, so shouldn't I be allowed to compare the books and the movies to each other?
You got a good point. As long as I don't have to review the Twilight book and movie, I'm golden. Anyway, see ya!
Thanks for that. Twilight! Twilight, the punchline of many jokes, and we're here to see why it's so hated. In 2005, Stephanie Meyer released a novel abomination of the world called Twilight. Up until 2008, the god-awful book series had finally ended. But Hollywood, being the whores that they are, decided to turn a pretentious book series into movies. Not since Transformers 2 has Hollywood made such a stupid move. So let's start with our first installment. With the first book and the first movie, we set up our main character, Bella Swan. And yes, that's supposed to be a tribute to Bela Lugosi, which is insulting. As she moves to Washington to move with her new dad, Charlie. I wish. So, at her new school, she meets Edward, who's supposed to be a vampire, and I say supposed to because he doesn't eat meat, doesn't kill, and doesn't die in sunlight. No, in fact, he sparkles in sunlight. Sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. Sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. Sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. Come on in, Twilight, sparkle. I'm sorry, I had to, but with all honesty, there's a vampire who doesn't do any vampire things. Then what's the point of making him a vampire? Wanna know why Buffy the Vampire Slayer is better? Because it did this crap right. Seriously, go watch Buffy, not this sparkly emo crap. Anyway, the book and the movie are pretty much identical, so that's what makes Twilight one of the most accurate movie adaptations ever. Only problem, the book is boring. And so is the movie. I mean, it's so dull, with long scenes of characters just doing nothing but going on dates. And what's worse, the movie is 2 hours long. 2 hours? Come on, I mean, with Lord of the Rings, the reason those movies were long is because stuff was happening in them. There's really nothing else to the story except girl goes out with vampire. Oh, except these Black Eyed Pea looking vampires, which, again, they don't look like vampires, show up, trying to kill Bella, Edward defeats them, and then they go to prom and that's over. You know what's really sad? This story honestly could have been good, you know, a sort of a forbidden love between a teenage girl and a blood-sucking monster. But what do we get instead? Girl that makes Slender Man have more expression, and wannabe vampire that makes emo pretentious look manly. Hey, oh shut up, you whiny bitch. Hey, one of these days I'm gonna come to your house and I'm gonna cut you. Good to know. Wanna see the day you actually grow the balls to actually do it. You're mean. Anyway, the first book and first movie were bad because they were boring. As for part 2, A New Moon, here's where crap hits the fan. In the sequel, Edward decides to leave Bella because he might end up hurting her. No, stay Edward, we might actually get an interesting story after that. Bella falls into a depression, and then we get to see Bella at her most psychotic, and by that I mean her worst. Every time she gets hurt, she gets visions of Edward. So she deliberately tries hurting herself to get attention, even throwing herself off of a cliff. Look, I know teenage girls do a lot of dumb things, but so far what we've got with this character, we have self-centered, needy, whiny, and suicidal, all because a boy left her. This is not empowering to women, this is stereotyping girls to the point of making them look psychotic. Oh, and Jacob, played by Sharkboy of all people, who had a very, very minor role in the first installment, is here and he's come back and he's buffer than ever. And the movie version feels the need to ram that point down your throat.
Wow, you're beefy. Oh wow, beefcake. Oh wow, look at your muscles.
We get it. He's buff. So Jakey here wants to swoop in and make Bella his. And to be honest, he's actually a way better boyfriend than Edward. He's loyal, thoughtful, can fend for himself, and way more attractive. But even with our best character, even he has a flaw. Why is it in the holy mother of hell he wants to go after a girl with these kind of traits? Really, that's all that really happens in this installment. Oh yeah, except Edward is found in this weird vampire gathering which looks like a camp of incestuous brother and sisters. And Edward ends up stripping naked for the fangirls, and then Edward and Bella get back together, and that's the end of part 2. Easily, New Moon is the worst of them all. Bella's at her worst, the story just sort of meanders back to where it started, and Jacob, who's better in every way, is chasing after this bitch who's awful. So now let's...
Me was wait!
Hi, Nostalgia Kid.
Don't review the Twilight Saga. I'm already reviewing it. Just don't torture yourself with this madness.
Too late, already reviewing it.
Damn it, man, you've gone insane.
Go away.
Okay. See you at your funeral.
Anyway, Eclipse! So in this installment, Victoria, the evil vampire from the first installment, she forms an army to finally kill Bella in revenge for killing the bad vampire who was apparently her boyfriend from the first installment. Well, if she's trying to put an end to this awful character, then she's the hero. Along with that, you got Bella trying to figure out if she wants Edward or Jacob. Last installment, you just picked Edward. Now you can't decide again? I can't decide. You're an idiot. That's basically it. Love, life, trouble, and fighting off evil vampires. Surprisingly, as boring as this one is, it's actually the best of all of them. Like I said, as boring as it is, there's stuff in here that's actually pretty decent. Notably the development that Edward and Jacob get with their relationship, as they both don't like each other, but they both love Bella for whatever reason and want to protect her. That, oh, and the end scene between the whole good vampires and werewolves versus bad vampires was actually filmed pretty well in the movie and was actually pretty well written in the book. So now we come to our last installment, Breaking Dawn. In the fourth installment, Bella and Edward are getting married. Oh, but what's baffling is that in both the book and the movie, the wedding is way too long. In the book, it takes like more than one chapter, which honestly it could have just taken one chapter to get this crap done. And in the movie, it's more than 14 minutes. Oh my god, this is Manos the Hands of Fate levels of boring. So, now that our characters are married, Bella and Edward can get it on. And Bella is immediately pregnant. Also, there's some crap about how Jacob is still protective of Bella, even though he should really just move on and find a girl who's way hotter, better, and nicer. And other than that, tons of nothing. And that's not an exaggeration. In the book, there's long stretches of nobody doing anything and holding on sentences for way too long. And in the movie, there's long stretches of either montages or characters moping around. Eventually near the end of the movie, the baby is about to rip out of Bella's stomach, alien style, and thanks to a bunch of flashing lights that'll give your audience seizures, or Jacob doing a weird werewolf Vulcan mind meld, either or, calms the baby, and the baby known as Renesmee is born. And yes, the baby is named Renesmee. Add that to the list of bad baby names. But anyway, you know what's insulting about this last part? In the movie, they actually made it a two-parter. Yes, they made their finale a two-parter. Look. When Harry Potter did it, stuff happened.
Wiz, wait! You're not reviewing Twilight, are you?
Vamp, look, you don't have to try and convince me that I don't have to review Twilight, alright? I'm on the last installment.
Oh, okay. As long as I don't have to. That is my kryptonite.
Right. So, finishing Breaking Dawn. Jacob falls in love with their baby. That's creepy. Evil vampire council guy from New Moon is officially the bad guy, and he wants to kill Renesmee, so it's up to Edward, Bella, Jacob, Renesmee, and the vampire equivalent of the Planeteers to try and stop them. And I have to compliment this climax, which is actually pretty badass. Whether it's in the book or the movie, does a decent job at making it cool. But what could have been a cool climax and a cool ending finale to the series turns out to be a dream. Yo! Yeah, that's a pretty awful way of ending your story. I mean, okay, going back to Harry Potter again. When Harry Potter killed off all their characters in the final installment, they actually died. Here, they just wuss out and say, oh, no one died, no one was hurt. Yeah, that's not an ending, that's not a climax, that's lazy writing. And with that dream out of the way, evil vampire council guy retreats and they all live happily ever. Twilight sucks. There are no winners, because let's face it, as a book and a movie series, they both suck in pretty much the same ways. Part 1 is boring, Part 2 is insulting, Part 3 is just boring again with little doses of stuff that could be done well, and Part 4 is all of the above, boring and insulting. So I repeat, with this battle, there are no winners. Just remember, Twilight sucks, unless you're a Twitard. I'm the Media Wiz, because Smart Forum wasn't enough.
I am emo. I dress in girls' clothes. When I'm dancing at shows, I look like a 4-year-old throwing a tantrum. reattach my testicle. I'm in the scene, I play bass in my band. I like cutting my wrist. I weigh 91 pounds, it's okay to cry. Most emos kiss other guys, 'cause emo chicks are fat.